Worlds XP is a physical, streamlined, and adaptable game-based toolkit for your learning environment, sporting tools that both create and foster a more positive and structured experience.
Thank you for checking out our Kickstarter Worlds XP. If you are listening to this on a podcast, again, you can come to our Kickstarter page, watch the video. If you are watching this video and you just want to learn about this later, save it for later, go to our podcast. You can listen to what I have to say through the podcast, maybe on your car ride home, or maybe when you're working out, or if you're a visual learner, welcome to the video. Let's talk about Worlds XP. All right, so what is Worlds XP? Worlds XP is a streamlined, gameful experience for your learning environment. So it's meant to do three things well. Number one, develop class culture, develop strong student-to-student relationships, develop strong student-to-teacher relationships. Also, number two, it is a way to engage and motivate students through gameful experiences. And number three, it helps to reinforce positive behaviors to encourage the type of learning environment you want for your classroom. So in this video, we're going to look at three things or answer three main questions. Number one, why would you use Worlds XP? Number two, what exactly is Worlds XP? What is included in this kit? And number three is going to be a how. But under the how, we're going to look at a lot of different questions like how do you use the kit? How long should you use the kit for? How many students can the kit be used with? So in this video, we're going to look at those three questions. So let's look at number one. Why should you use Worlds XP? So when answering the question why, we're going to look at something before we get to the three reasons why you might use Worlds XP. Number one, it was designed on my experience using games, game-based learning, and gamification techniques. We used it, the very first prototype we used in my wife's classroom in Taiwan. It was a high school level classroom, 9th, 10th, and a couple 11th graders in that class. It worked really well. You can go back to some of our podcasts called the Gamification Diaries. That's 4 episodes where we talk about implementing the kit. Number two, we implemented different parts of the kit or changed, refined. We even removed some things based on both play testing and feedback and our experience. One thing we had included that we learned from was the leaderboard. We learned that that can be a bit discouraging for younger students or for students who are falling behind the leaderboard. So we took that out. Now, one thing you can do with the leaderboard is create a leaderboard that competes in groups. That's an option for you, and that's something that is explained in the Worlds XP manual. And number three, it's based on foundation of educational psychology principles. So a lot of the ideas in the kit are based on psychology that's been researched in the past or currently in practice. All right, so number one, it really helps to develop class culture. So in Worlds XP, you are creating characters, you are telling stories, and you're collaborating with your classmates. And as a teacher, you're collaborating with your students to advance adventures through the story. So they're creating these relationships in the game that can really transcend the game and play a role in your learning environment outside of just the game. Number two, the game helps increase motivation and engagement. So within the RPG integrated learning adventures, there are ways to integrate learning outcomes into the story. So we walk you through that process. In each scenario, there's 6 different scenarios, 3 main ones plus a bonus boss, and then plus 3 optional scenarios. So we talk about ways you can integrate learning objectives into the story. So this motivates students to want to solve the puzzles in the story, to advance the plot of the story, or to progress through their adventure. And these puzzles are based on learning outcomes that you come up with or that you have designed in your class. So number three, it reinforces positive behavior and creates the type of learning environment you want for your classroom. So in the kit, there are different XP tracking systems. With those tracking systems, students earn XP, and with that XP, they unlock items. Now, these items can be anything that relates to your learning environment. There are some examples in the Worlds XP manual One example, maybe just an item they can unlock, they get a treat from you, like a sweet piece of candy. Or maybe one XP item my wife used was future goggles. So instead of having to read a book for their writing diary, they could watch a Netflix TV show. So we give some different examples of items you could use for your class, but you are free to make up your own. So this is a way that you can integrate the type of learning environment you want for your students or for your learners. All right, so we talked about why you might use Worlds XP in your learning environment. And we touched briefly on some things Worlds XP includes, but let's look specifically at what you get when you back this Kickstarter. So number one, you get the physical components. Those are the character cards, the items, and the XP cards. So those are all included in the kit, as well as a book. So this book is a Worlds XP manual. So included in this book are tips and ideas for implementing the toolkit in your classroom. And number three, you get an integrated learning adventure. So that includes 3 scenarios plus the final challenge and 3 optional scenarios. So it's up to you how many of those you want to use, but there's the 3 basic ones plus the final challenge. Also included in the kit are XP tracking systems. So we've came up with 3 different ways to track XP to make it as simple process as possible. And finally, the bonus thing, you can join the Worlds XP community. So my real goal with Worlds XP is to create a community to help come up with ways to create a better, stronger, streamlined process for gamifying different parts of your curriculum or using game-based learning in your learning and teaching. So I'm really excited. This is maybe the best part of the kit, is to join this community, become a member of our community to help us create the best kit we can. The last part, I want to end with some questions related to using the kit and some questions that kind of come up a lot when we were doing playtesting. Number one is, how do I get started? Well, recently we developed a quick start guide. So that was one thing that came back with playtesting. We realized the first manual that was published was 30 pages long, and that was too long for a teacher to kind of read and get going with it. So we created a 6-page quick start guide so you can get going right away. It walks you through the process, so you don't need to read it all even to get going. You can start step by step with the guide. The next question, how much class time does it take? Well, this is completely up to you on how long you want to spread out the adventure or how short you want to make it, how much class time each week or maybe each day if you want to spend some time on it. It's completely up to you. The integrated learning adventures include different ways to add learning outcomes to the RPG story. So let's say you spend 10 minutes on the RPG story. Well, part of that time is going to be spent doing an activity related to the story. So we talk about different ways to integrate learning adventures or learning outcomes into the learning adventures. The next question, does it require a lot of upkeep? It requires some upkeep. We did create 3 XP tracking systems. One you can set as a final exit ticket for students, so something they do as they exit the room. So it doesn't require much time for you. All you need to do is verify they are not filling in the wrong XP amounts. So when they hand in their XP sheet, they also hand in the cards. You check for that day to make sure they received that much XP, and then you put it away. So there's no upkeep on your end. There are 2 other ways you can do upkeep through an Excel tracking sheet. So there's more effort for the teacher to put into tracking that. And there are the physical card, level up cards. So as students gather 10 XP cards, that's 100 XP. You can just give them level 2, or maybe they level up with only 50 XP. It's up to you to decide that as well. The last question that we have here is, what is the class size limit? The final kit will come with 27 different characters times 2. So you will have 54 characters to work with in the final kit. There will be an option after the Kickstarter to add on additional characters if you want. And something I'm really excited for, if we receive enough funding, we can add on different themes to the kit too. So that way you can get additional integrated learning adventures, additional characters, and there's a storyline that you can connect all the themes together. So you can have pirates, the space theme, the fantasy theme, and the haunted house theme all connect together. That I'm really excited about. So I hope we can get enough backers. I hope we can reach those stretch goals to manufacture the other themes and get the artwork done for those as well. So finally, any other questions? Mention a comment on the Kickstarter. I'm sure there are other people that have the same question. It'll be great for me to go to the Kickstarter, reply to your comment, answer your questions, or you can simply find us on social media, Board Gaming with Education, or if you just want to send me an email, podcast@boardgamingwitheducation.com. Before we go, join our Facebook group, Worlds XP. Ask a question there if you want to contribute, give some feedback, give us some insights. It's up to you. This is a community that we are really trying to grow out of this Kickstarter as well. So finally, thank you for listening to this video, hearing what I have to say about the kit. If you're interested, back it. And as always, thank you for any help you can provide for the Kickstarter.